DJI just took the United States government to federal court. And honestly, they might win. Here is why that matters. If DJI wins this case, it does not just save DJI in America. It forces the US government to publicly prove, with real evidence, that DJI drones are actually a national security threat. Something they have never done. Something a lot of people believe they cannot do. If DJI loses, the drone you are flying right now could be the last DJI drone you ever legally buy in the United States. Two outcomes, both are real. And right now, nobody knows which way this goes. Today I am going to break this down completely. What the FCC actually did, what DJI is arguing in court, why so many people think DJI has a real case this time, and what both outcomes mean for you as a drone owner in America. No politics, no hype, just the facts. And what they mean for your hobby, your business, and your next drone purchase. Let us get into it. To understand why this lawsuit exists, you need to understand what happened on December 23rd, 2025. The FCC placed DJI on something called the covered list. The covered list is a list of companies whose products are deemed, and this is the FCC's exact language, an unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States. Being on that list means one thing, practically. No new FCC certifications, no new product authorizations, no new drone models can be sold in America. Not reviewed more carefully, not delayed, blocked permanently. Unless the decision gets overturned, your existing drone, whatever you own right now, it stays legal. You can fly it. You can buy existing stock while it lasts on shelves. Nothing changes for current owners today. But from December 23rd, the door to America closed for anything DJI has not already released. That includes the DJI Avatar 360, rumored to launch in March. A drone that could be sitting in a warehouse right now, ready to ship, that American buyers cannot legally purchase. And here is the detail that made DJI take this to federal court. The FCC made this decision after what it called a review by an executive branch interagency body convened by the White House, a body with, quote, appropriate national security expertise, but that review was never made public. No evidence was published, no specific threat was documented and shared. DJI says it requested a formal security audit multiple times before the ban was issued. It never received one. So DJI is now asking a federal court a very simple question. Where is the proof? Something important that most coverage is missing. This FCC lawsuit is not DJI's first legal battle with the US government. It is the latest in a multi-year war. In 2020, DJI was placed on the Department of Commerce entity list, restricting its access to US components. In 2024 and 2025, DJI sued the Department of Defense after being designated a Chinese military company. A federal judge upheld that listing, but critically, the court rejected the claim that DJI is owned or controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. That finding matters because the government's core narrative about DJI has a hole in it. In 2025, DJI appealed that DOD decision. Oral arguments were heard in February 2026. Right now, as this video goes live, that appeal is still active. So DJI is currently fighting on two legal fronts simultaneously. The DOD battle over the military company designation, the FCC battle over the covered list and the product ban. These are not the actions of a company quietly accepting its fate. DJI is fighting, and it is fighting in the right places, in federal courts, with legal arguments about due process and constitutional rights, not just public statements. Here things get interesting. DJI's legal arguments are not weak. They are actually quite strong. The first argument is about statutory authority. DJI argues the FCC exceeded its legal authority when it made this decision. The FCC is a communications regulator. Its mandate is radio frequency and communications equipment. DJI argues that using the covered list to ban drone hardware based on national security grounds goes beyond what the FCC is legally empowered to do. The second argument is due process. The Fifth Amendment of the US Constitution guarantees that no person or company can be deprived of rights without due process of law. DJI says it was placed on the covered list without a proper opportunity to respond, present evidence, or challenge the claims before the decision was finalized. That is a constitutional argument. Federal courts take those seriously. The third argument is the lack of evidence itself. The FCC's December statement said criminals, hostile foreign actors, and terrorists can use drones to present new and serious threats. But that statement describes drones generally. Like, it does not present specific documented evidence that DJI drones specifically have been used to compromise US national security. DJI is essentially saying, you have made a claim without proof. Prove it. And remember, in the DoD case, the court already found no evidence that DJI is owned or controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. That previous finding weakens the government's broader narrative. None of this means DJI will definitely win. Courts are unpredictable, and national security cases give government significant deference. But the legal foundation here is real. This is not a long shot. Let me give you some numbers that put this in perspective. DJI controls over 70% of the US consumer and commercial drone market. More than 80% of the 1,800 plus state and local law enforcement agencies in America use DJI drones for search and rescue, accident reconstruction, and tactical operations. Farmers across the Midwest rely on DJI's Agri series for precision crop spraying. Without access to new models or replacement parts, entire agricultural service businesses could collapse. Hollywood cinematographers, infrastructure inspectors, real estate photographers, search and rescue teams, these are not hobbyists worried about their weekend flying. These are professionals whose livelihoods are built around DJI equipment. And since the ban was announced, panic stockpiling has already begun across the United States. People are buying existing inventory now because they do not know if it will be there later. That is the real-world impact of this decision. If the ban stands permanently, the US will need to build a domestic drone industry from scratch to fill this gap. That takes years, and in the meantime, prices go up, options shrink, and industries that depend on affordable, capable drones are left waiting. The Chinese government has already called this a transparent attempt to eliminate a successful global competitor rather than a genuine national security measure. Whether you agree with that framing or not, the economic reality of removing DJI from America is significant. Let me be direct. If you own a DJI drone, nothing changes today. You can fly legally. Your drone is not going anywhere. If you were planning to buy a DJI drone, existing models are still available and legal. Given the uncertainty about future availability, if there is something you have been considering, that uncertainty is worth factoring into your timing. If you were waiting for new DJI models in the US, the Avatar 360, whatever comes after the Neo 2, the next Mini, those launches are blocked until this case is resolved. There is no timeline on a court decision. If you use DJI commercially, for real estate, agriculture, inspection, film, or public safety, this case directly affects your long-term business planning. The outcome determines whether you can keep building around DJI equipment, and DJI Care has already been canceled for US owners. That is an immediate real-world impact happening right now, regardless of how the lawsuit ends. Here is the honest reality of where this stands. DJI filing in the Ninth Circuit is a serious escalation. This is not a press release. Yeah, this is a federal lawsuit with constitutional arguments that a court will have to answer. The question of whether a government agency can restrict a company without presenting public evidence of harm, that question matters far beyond drones. It matters for every foreign technology company operating in America. If DJI wins, it changes how the US government can restrict foreign tech. That is a big deal. If the FCC wins, it signals that national security claims can close markets without detailed public proof. That is also a big deal. Either way, this case is one of the most consequential technology legal battles in years, and it is happening right now. I will be covering every major development as this unfolds. Subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss updates. This story moves fast, and I want to make sure you hear what happens the moment it happens, and drop in the comments. Do you think DJI has a real case here? Are you a US owner affected by this? Let me know where you stand. I read everything. Thanks for watching till the end. I will see you in the next one.